All right. Let me make sure I've got everything in check before we start the live stream. Right here, this is the Discord live stream. You can also join us on Discord if you want to. I will drop the link into the chat. Join us on in case the YouTube live stream is laggy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We are about to get started with the New York session live stream. I was about to, recap the London session and what we've done on our Discord server this morning, because we do daily live London sessions. And today was a great London session. If we look at the overall thing, so good morning at 9:05. This is right 5 minutes after the London Open. Big Asia range cleared previous day's high. Don't have a bias yet until 10:38. That's when I essentially shared the setup that I'm taking, the long setup into Asia buy side liquidity on NASDAQ. And I documented this entire trade, well, step by step, very nicely. Really glad the trade played out. And this is essentially what happened. So we cleared sell side liquidity here. We retraced into this hourly 4-hour time frame bullish fair value gap. And if we look at the hourly time frame, let's go into the ICT all-in-one settings. Set it to the 1-hour time frame so we don't have to switch charts. Hide the news calendar here quickly. Okay, that doesn't work. Let's go to the hourly time frame. Also on the hourly, we've been inside a bullish fair value gap at the time this sweep happened. We retested a hourly down closing candle, overlapping with the 4-hour bullish fair value gap, and overall, it's hard to deny that we have been in an uptrend. So I'm very happy to look for longs while we are in this uptrend. We had a power hour PM session pump here yesterday, just before the close at 15:55. At 16, we continued to run higher through the previous day's high, this orange line drawn by the ICT all-in-one during Asia. And I waited for a little while before I'm taking my entry to make sure that I'm not getting manipulated. And once I saw reason to believe that one side, shorts in this case, have been manipulated, I was happy to enter long. With spread, I got filled right around this price level. There were plenty of chances to get in on that trade, even after I shared it on Discord, if you are even trading in London session, of course. And from here on, we just kept holding support very nicely on bullish fair value gaps, taking out the buy side liquidity. And from here on, really, we held support on the previous day's high. And this is where it got a little bit messy, I'd say. While the S&P 500, the ES futures contract, already pushed above the Asia session buy side here prior to the 8:30 news event, NASDAQ just consolidated. I had my stop loss right here below this low. I also shared that inside the London session. Right here. Stop loss below this low. If we close below this fair value gap, that's my invalidation. So just before all this chop happened. Now, if we look at it, we actually see that we never even closed below this bullish fair value gap once. I was scared, ready to exit my position on this candle. But as you can see, the wick has done the damage, but the body stayed inside this fair value gap. So I'm happily holding until my buy side target is met. Yeah, and that's essentially the London session recap. Very nice trade. Let's go back to the 5-minute time frame and quickly remove these slides. Ah, shit. If you have any questions during the stream, feel free to ask. That's what we're here for. You can also join us on Discord if you want a lag-free or undelayed stream experience. I keep that in check. So now we recap the London session. Let me check YouTube. Nope, there's nothing yet. All right, like this. Don't really need those lines. I'm just going to add them to my execution folder. If you're wondering why I'm not looking at current price action, it's because we have news at 10 a.m. and I don't want to get involved prior to that at all. So, all these lines. Let's get rid of this one here as well. Yeah, okay, perfect. I'm gonna pull all of them into my executions folder for the week. And how's it going, memory of tree? Asmati basics. Let me go to the hourly and also add the trade from yesterday. With that explosive move right after the opening. One hour time frame, dropping this down to the 5-minute, and then we have all the executions for this week on our chart. And I'm gonna annotate this for my channel. All right, perfect. Let's put that into here and hide it. We don't need to see that right now. We are concerned about, okay, this is from yesterday. See that we perfectly reached the 3.5 to 4 standard deviation target. We talked about the entire stream yesterday. The daily time frame, we're still inside that daily fair value gap. Let's hide all of this stuff from group 1. The time is 43. We have 17 minutes to go. Yeah, there might be phases of it. I also looked at CL in the past, but it all depends in my opinion at least. But if you prefer trading CL, then go for it. Definitely, if you think it's smoother, maybe, well, it just fits your trading style a lot better. For me personally, I didn't have that same experience, so I won't be trading CL. I'm good with NQ and the indices. All right, so what else? This London session long that we shared on the Discord this morning also helped me to pass the funnel account right here. This has been a performance. I've got the account on Thursday, the 6th of June, and today is Friday, the 28th of June, and we've successfully passed that challenge with the trades that I share on the Discord inside the London live sessions and during our live streams. So that's done. Let me actually open up Trade Logger because we've got another account ready. This one right here. It's actually looking like a decent low formation, but it's the 1 minute time frame. I don't really want to be trading the 1 minute now ahead of the news event. All right, this is all London stuff. Let's get rid of it. Take care, Kieran. Enjoy work. So let's take a look at the higher time frames here before we get started. At 10 a.m. we still have our daily bearish fair value gap. That stays the same. It's the end of the week. Daily fair value gap. This bearish fair value gap here on the daily also lines up with the inversion fair value gap here on the daily. So I'm not drawing in that inversion, I'm only drawing in the daily fair value gap, the bearish one. Now we drop it down to the 4-hour time frame, hide the ICT all in one real quick here. Took out equal low sell side, and this week we actually even caught the low of the week with this hourly time frame market structure shift. I also shared that setup on the Discord right here. I can show it real quick. Personal preference. But I'm glad that you found something that works for you. Where do we have it? Trade ideas inside the trade ideas category inside the VIP section. This was Monday, and then right here on Tuesday, potential longs of the 1 hour market structure shift breaker block order block. Right here, this is what we were looking at the time. And if we look at that now, actually worked out to be the low of the week on the hourly time frame with the market structure shift setup. Right here, market structure shift, SMT divergence at the lows. But now it's more interesting to see what we could anticipate for the rest of the day. So this is our daily bearish fair value gap. We closed above it on the hourly. But we still have two major bearish fair value gaps here on the 4 hour. But overall, the trend is moving to the upside. We used this one to long on Wednesday during the New York session, reaching into Tuesday's high. And today we use this for our bullish fair value gap right here. To target longs, if you recall, this is the 4 hour fair value gap from right here. That's how I like to combine multi time frames essentially. Inversion, fair value gap, boom, we run for buy side liquidity. Right, those are all for our fair value gaps. As you can see, we didn't close below the 4 hour yet, so I would assume we still have room to continue further to the upside. Hey, pump it up. So let's drop it down to the hourly. The hourly, we're starting to get a good push. We have 10 more minutes until the hour is closed. For our fair value gap, the daily fair value gap is kind of irrelevant here, so I'm not going to be looking at it. Immediate 9:30 opening reversal here. Pompilop, did you take that trade? Because that smells like something you would take on the 1 minute time frame if you still trade on the 1 minute. I don't do the 1 minute time frame, and I already passed one of my challenges with the long this morning, so I decided for the other account I'm going to be waiting until after the news event. I'm curious because this is your, well, textbook low of day New York Open reversal setup. This being the market structure shift. We have two inversion fair value gaps, a bullish fair value gap, our highest up closing candle. If we look at the array, this would have been our breaker block, overlapping nicely with our inversion fair value gap right here, inversion fair value gap right here, and the bullish fair value gap right there. That would have already netted your 2-to-1 risk reward, just taking the entry right from here, even placing your stop loss all the way at the low. Didn't hit 2-to-1 yet. We would have to get back all the way up to the 150 levels. Mm, 7 minutes until the news event. Video, YouTube is not receiving enough video. So guys, if you have issues with the YouTube live stream, make sure to click this link here inside the live stream chat and join us on Discord. I opened the live stream section on the Discord for everyone today because we usually do one free stream per week, and because we haven't done one this week yet, that's why we're doing it today. All right. So guys, make sure to ask questions in the chat. This way I have more stuff to talk about. Right now I'm just, well, observing, waiting to see how the 10 a.m. news candle plays out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Fridays for me are personally not about generating profits. Sometimes they turn out, but well, over trading and revenge trading on Fridays just hurts twice because you deal with that over the entire weekend. And yeah, that's just something that you could very easily avoid by risking a little bit less on Friday. At least that's what works for me. Fridays and Mondays typically aren't my best performing days. That's why I only risk 250, 0.5% of the account balance on this inversion fair value gap setup this morning during the London session. Right now we're getting held up by the midnight level. We've seen that several times so far today, right here at 2:30, and then essentially since 6 and 7 a.m. until we got the final push, the manipulation essentially prior to the news event, before we had the major sell-off. Mr. W was, which unicorn are you talking about? Please send a screenshot in the chat, then I can relate better. All right. I also see that Pompilop took a short here. Well, to be honest, it still has a fair chance, but you don't want to be shorting something like this at all, or at least I wouldn't want to. I know here's the market structure shift and all that stuff, but realistically speaking, the move has already been delivered. We delivered into the low of the day, we delivered into Asia's sell side, and now going short up here again essentially means you're hoping for the same to happen again. It could play out with the 10 a.m. news candle in 3 minutes. Yeah, in 3 minutes. But well, with news volatility, I think we're more likely just going to target buy side. And if we look at the 1 minute time frame, we had our bullish 2022 setup right after taking out the low of day and orders sell side. With our market structure shift, we close above, we come back to retest, and we push to the upside. Man, that's a lot of drawings. Let me remove them here real quick. Because essentially taking the short from here, just once again, we already cleared both up, high and low. Now coming from the low, we're moving all the way back into that. Perfect. But why do you call this a unicorn setup? Great trade here. Like I said, that's the one I pointed out here on the 1 minute time frame. We take the low, we have our market structure shift at the low of day. This isn't a unicorn setup, in my opinion at least. Doesn't really matter what you name it, if it's unicorn setup or the 2020 setup or the 2030 setup, who cares? As long as you know the rules, doesn't matter which name you give it. But for me, that's not a unicorn setup. Let's get rid of these lines here. We keep on pushing. 28 seconds until the news candle hits. I will explain, Mr. W, why I disagree with this being a unicorn setup after we get the news candle. 3, 2, 1. And we just keep pushing into buy side. There goes buy side. So real quick, why do I say that this right here isn't a unicorn setup? Very simply because there's been just one market structure shift. And this is your textbook 2022 model. Feel free to like debunk me on this, but I've been doing this for a long time. This is our market structure shift to the upside. We get in on the breaker block or fair value gap, any discount PD array or sort of PD array, if it's the midnight level or a fair value gap, a inversion fair value gap from that last leg to the downside, your bullish fair value gap or your breaker block, then it's a 2022 reversal setup at the low of the day. A unicorn setup would look like this. We have our lower low. We break to the upside. We have our bullish market structure shift. We continue higher, taking out more and more buy side liquidity. So now you're expecting the breaker block right here to hold, but it fails. And then essentially shifting market structure again. So first we have our shift to the upside right here. Then we have our shift to the downside. And this setup right here, with the breaker block being right here, the lowest closing candle, is your unicorn setup. This is your continuation lower setup because you can be pretty sure, at least unless we don't seek and destroy and chop around here, that this move here to the upside has been your manipulation move and your manipulation market structure shift. Now with the new market structure shift, the back-to-back market structure shift, you could look for those lower prices. And that's your unicorn setup. It's called unicorn because it has a pretty high win rate with the initial fake market structure shift. The chances of the second market structure shift also failing are pretty low. That's why it's called unicorn. It doesn't happen very often, but this is the difference between unicorn and 2022 model. Very quickly. I know some people on Twitter or YouTube sometimes will mistake one for the other, but that's simply because the unicorn setup is easier to market and to sell to people. Oh, it's a unicorn. Oh, it's super rare, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this would be a unicorn setup in itself. So we have the market structure shift that fails. We have a new market structure shift. We can be pretty sure that this is our manipulation. So unless we chop around like this, longs of the new breaker block would be your continuation long setup. This is the unicorn setup. Yeah, literally no wick. We open up with this volume imbalance here. And we see that we haven't even filled that one in yet. Like I said, I don't have any FOMO. I'm already finished the job for the day, bypassing the funding pips account this morning with the London session long that I shared right here of the inversion fair value gap. into buy side liquidity just before 8:30. And the only way to really get in on this long is either to just, well, jump on it and hope it continues higher, essentially chasing it, or like Mr. W here in the chat, take the 2022 model right here after the market structure shift at the low of the day. So 9:30 opens up, we have our final manipulation right here. We consolidate at the low, and then volatility kicks in, momentum kicks into the upside. We shift market structure. We come back to retest it, and we just run. No worries. I like to explain things, so that's why if you guys drop questions in the chat, yeah, I have more stuff to talk about essentially. And the streams are not that boring. Well, we'll see if we get the continuation setup, but yeah, this is your unicorn setup. Because yeah, the chances are pretty high that we won't, well, don't want to say it out loud, but after this run, dropping all the way back below this low, only happens during seek and destroy market conditions. Today doesn't look like we have seek and destroy market conditions. So knowing that, well, okay, we had a market structure shift, failed. We have a new market structure shift, back-to-back market structure shifts. This one is most likely going to hold. But at the same time, this is perhaps one of the largest unicorn models that I've seen. In recent memory, of course. Because there's just too much blank space here to the downside. So you would really have to put your stop loss at least to this low in order to protect yourself. Because price could easily retrace down into here. It could hit the midnight level, could go back to the previous day's high, could go all the way back into here, and then still continue up higher. So entering on somewhere around this area and placing your stop loss just below the midnight level would be something that's rather risky. And you would be expecting a, huge continuation further to the upside. I think it's crazy that we essentially caught the low of this entire retracement. So from here, once we saw the 1 hour time frame market structure shift, we essentially moved 2.2% to the upside, 432 points. And I just want to point this out because I'm kind of proud of it. Here on the hourly time frame inside the trade ideas section of the VIP group right here on the Discord. Potential longs of the 1 hour market structure shift. This right here is the low of the week. If we look at that on the current chart right now, it's a pity that I didn't keep on holding, but well, frankly, I'm not a swing trader, I'm a scalper. I don't like to anticipate the low of the week and keep on holding till Friday, because yeah, some stuff like this rarely happens. But scalping 50, 25 or 40 points every day, well, that's something that's possible every day essentially. Whereas these 1 hour swing trades that run 500 points are more rare than small scalps on the lower time frame. Guys, for everyone that's watching on YouTube, I'm not sure if the stream is laggy, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like it's pretty smooth. Should be fine. But yeah, the session is kind of done, if you ask me. We just retraced into our highest 4 hour bearish fair value gap before we hit buy side. We still have the gap also on the 4 hour time frame. I'm talking about this gap right here. Typically, price likes to fill in those gaps. Like I said earlier, we used 4-hour time frame fair value gaps twice this week for explosive moves, essentially. We used the 4-hour time frame fair value gap right here for the run into the previous day's high, and this morning for the run back to the consequent encouragement of this lower 4-hour fair value gap. And now we're just pushing. Similar to yesterday, if we look at the 5-minute time frame, we also had a rather bullish opening right here. 9:30 opened up and we pushed. Nothing compared to what we see today. So I'm actually interested. Yeah, I think we could see a new all-time high today. Wouldn't be surprised. I think we already got one on the S&P 500. No, not yet. But, well, I think the S&P 500 has a easier time because we're just a couple of points away. I mean, I think we can almost watch it live. We're 5 points away from forming a new all-time high. Okay. The only real gamble, in my opinion, that you could take is essentially long. It's not a good gamble, but it's just something that you could do. Go long anywhere around here, manage your risk properly, place your stop loss below the slow, and your take profit target at the all-time high. And as long as it hits the all-time high first, you're good and you made some profit. Otherwise, yeah, you lost 0.5 to 1%. You would have to do this with micros if you trade with a futures prop firm. But yeah, it's not, well, maybe it's something I would take because it's a low effort play. It kind of requires that the all-time high is being hit today by the end of the day. Otherwise, you would have to pay overnight fees, and with futures, that's not even possible. Only with CFDs, but it's rather expensive. So essentially, you're betting on that the slow is going to remain intact at least until we see a new all-time high. You could also wait for a retracement into a fair value gap in order to take that play, and you would be looking for the bonds into the all-time high from there. Mr. W, yes, the London live streams are paid. They're part of the entire VIP accumulation zone VIP membership, where you get access to the ICT all-in-one, daily New York session live streams, trade ideas, and the daily live tape reading sessions. You can get access to it here on the Discord server if you click on the join VIP channel. I can also drop the link into the live stream chat right here. There's a 10% discount if you use the code VIP10. Oh, okay, perfect. Then I guess I can end the stream if no one's watching on YouTube. Great. I guess it's not really interesting and people move on to different live streams. That's why I don't like streaming on YouTube. It's, yeah, I don't know, too competitive, and I don't really care. I just trade for myself and for people that, well, found me somewhere via my YouTube channel, via Twitter, inside the Discord. I like that much more than, well, those huge live streams with hundreds or even thousands of viewers. Spammy chat, I don't know, distracts me from what I'm actually here to do. Trade myself and teach a small group of people. That's what I enjoy. If you have any feedback or suggestions, feel free to share it with me, of course.